Ideas are a natural resource. The more ideas you have and use, the more ideas you get. But sometimes, if you share a new, tender idea with the world, it can get trampled on. Then you might start to hold back and even mistrust your ideas, or fear that they won't be successful. Or worse, worry about what other people might think before you even explore your idea further. That's why I created the Idea Sanctuary. It's a safe place, like a nature reserve, where your wildest ideas can roam and develop. No outside interference allowed here. Over the next few days, we'll dive deep into the process of taking an idea, or many ideas, and refining, validating, polishing, and launching it out into the world with fanfare. I believe that ideas have a shelf life, and we should use them before they expire. And whether you're a creative person with too many ideas, or you've lost touch with your inner muse, you'll get so much out of the Idea Sanctuary in our unique process for bringing ideas to market. You're brilliant. You already have everything you need to succeed. We're experts in the digital space, and the examples we'll be using as we go through the Idea Sanctuary are what most of our clients end up creating: an online course, a membership site, or a free opt-in download. The first step in successfully bringing an idea out into the world is identifying the wild idea that you want to pursue. But before we can do that, we need to know what ideas are currently occupying space in your mind. Many of us go through the day with lots of new ideas bouncing around, wanting our attention. But we're often too busy with what's in front of us to notice or do anything with these ideas in the moment. Sometimes these ideas even escape us completely, or they come back at another time, like in the shower. So right now, we're going to write down every idea, project, to-do item, or worry that's on your mind. Think of yourself as an observer of your thoughts, walking through a wild forest that hasn't had a visitor in a while. You might notice things that have been there for a while, like an old tree that's a steady presence and would like to be acknowledged. And you might also see some new little idea sprouts that hold a lot of potential if you can nurture them properly. I'm going to ask you to spend 5 minutes to write every thought, idea, commitment, and task that comes up. Business, personal, and everything in between. I recommend writing these things down on paper, even though I'm a software girl, because the process of writing by hand connects you to a different part of your brain and lets you slow down enough to get to that deeply buried stuff. Be the observer. No judgments here. Write down anything, big or small. Go ahead and pause the video now. Now that you've written down all of the ideas for your online courses, your book, your website, how you need to clear out the closet, pick up some floss, and maybe call your Aunt Sally, it's time to sort through and process these ideas, thoughts, and tasks. Beside each item, write down whether it's a do, delegate, delay, or delete. There might be some things that aren't pressing, so you can delay them to give yourself some time. Other things might have outlived their usefulness and be deleted entirely. This happens sometimes with ideas that made sense a year ago, but that are now no longer relevant to your business or current focus. For example, I once bought a domain name for a great business idea, and I kept it for a few years because I was in love with the concept, but it just didn't make sense with where my business was going. When I let it go, new and more aligned ideas showed up to take its place. In order to make space and time to work on your best ideas, it helps to delegate. Whether that means asking your kids to help with a chore, hiring someone for a one-time project, or passing something on to someone who can do the task better than you can. Ideas are precious, but they're nothing without execution and implementation. You might have the best idea, but if it stays in the Idea Sanctuary forever, then no one will get to benefit from it. It can also be difficult to work on more than one idea at a time. It's easier to become known for one thing and to expand from there. For instance, I started out in this business by helping women get techie with it and creating technical how-to courses. Very specific. From there, I was able to branch out into teaching digital strategy and marketing, a lot more broad. And then I returned to my roots in tech and started the company that you see today, where we design online education tools and business solutions for ambitious people. Again, pretty specific. I didn't try to pursue all of these ideas at once. They built onto each other. So now we're going to identify which idea, singular, you'll nurture. I need to clear something out about choosing an idea to focus on. We're not talking about marrying yourself to an idea and being unable to adapt if it doesn't work. Once you've chosen your best idea, we're going to continue to refine, validate, and prepare it for the world, and vice versa. Take out your notes from the previous step where you wrote down all of your thoughts and ideas that you had as an observer. Beside each item, write down a priority number, with number 1 being the idea that sparks the most excitement. You'll also want to look at potential return on investment for this idea. For example, if you're looking to create an online course, but you have 2 different topics you could talk about, go with the one that has more potential customers or that might be faster and easier for you to create. Take a few minutes to evaluate your ideas, and if new ones pop up, add them to your wild idea list. Now, pick the idea you'll want to nurture and grow into a successful venture. Then let us know below which type of idea you're working on so we can support you in getting it out into the world. Got it? Great, let's keep going. Before you transplant your new idea into another environment, you need to understand the existing ecosystem that your idea will enter. To make sure your idea will make it, it helps to explore your industry, the marketplace at large, and to understand the people who might buy into your idea and help you spread the word about it. You need to observe the conditions and see if your idea will thrive or if it will be choked out by competing ideas that are already established. In my opinion, there's always room for another teacher, course, or book if you position yourself and your idea strategically and focus on solving the problems of your customers. The first step in exploring the ecosystem you're about to enter with your idea is to make a list. In the case of an online course or membership site, that means knowing what other courses exist on your topic, who are the other thought leaders in this space, and what customers are really looking for. Spend some time researching and making a list of your idea's possible competition, cooperation, and customers. For potential competitors, write down pertinent information like pricing, scope of the course, strengths, and weaknesses. We'll use this later. On the flip side, look at possible allies and partners that could help you spread the word about your idea, course, or product. People you already know, leaders in the field you might want to befriend, and existing customers and fans. Speaking of customers, your idea needs to benefit your potential clients, readers, or participants. But you're not a mind reader, so the best way to make sure your idea meets their needs is to ask. That's why I recommend meeting with at least 3 past or potential customers of your new idea and asking them these questions. What keeps you up at night? What have you tried that hasn't worked, and why? If we were talking 3 years from now and looking back, what would have had to happen for you to be happy with your progress? Make extensive notes and keep track of the exact words and sentence fragments that you hear. That's why I recommend doing this over the phone or in person, although written works too. Okay, that's a lot. That's because your idea is entering an established ecosystem with a lot of moving pieces and people. Next, we'll position and validate your idea, but take the time you need to map the existing ecosystem so you're not headed in the wrong direction with your idea. You're doing great. It's natural for doubts to surface. You might think that your competition is too far ahead or that no one will want your product or course. Don't go there. First, I have to tell you straight up, your idea is unique. By virtue of the fact that your idea came to you and that you have a unique story, life experience, and background that no one else has. No one can copy your life, your personality, or your beliefs. Those are yours. You might have seen something that's eerily similar to your idea. What gives? You might even have freaked out a little, but here's why that's a good thing. If you see something similar to your idea in the marketplace already and it's succeeding, then it means that there's a viable business case for it. For example, if there are dozens of books on a topic, you know that people are buying those books, otherwise publishers wouldn't be printing them. The same goes for online courses, membership sites, blogs, podcasts, you name it. What will help your idea succeed in a possibly crowded space is to give it a head start by making it strategically unique. You want to find the most fertile soil to plant your new idea in. That means finding your niche, that sweet spot of people who are looking for what you have to offer, that uses your strengths, your unique story, and helpful perspective. For starters, are you addressing a marketplace that's new to your topic, that's more savvy, or that's already an expert in the field? Knowing where your customers are along their journey can help you deliver your idea at the right level for them. This niche can also be described as how you're different from your competitors. Not sure what that looks like yet? Look at the data you gathered about the existing ecosystem and see where the patterns are. Is there anywhere you could zig where your competitors zag? Any of their weaknesses you could shore up with your idea or product? Anything that your potential customers repeated a lot, or that's an unaddressed problem. For example, if you're creating an online course and all of your competitors offer an 8-week video course, could you make yours an 8-day video course for people who are really busy and want results fast? Could you do the work for your customers through a service instead of giving them a how-to ebook? Could you help people who are brand new get started or offer something that no one else has thought of yet? Fill in some of your ideas for strategically differentiating your product or course. Now let's sum up your idea's unique position in the marketplace. Here's a formula for describing it. My idea helps who do what, unlike competitors. For example, my online course helps women with cravings stop binging on junk food while feeling satiated, unlike most diets that focus on calorie counting. We have to talk about idea predators. And when I say that, you might be thinking about people who are out to steal your ideas. Now, those people may exist, but the biggest threat to your idea is not someone else, it's yourself. Specifically, your resistance to doing the work, your perfectionism, and your self-doubt. Let's talk about procrastination and perfectionism and how it leads to half-baked ideas that rot on the vine when they started out with so much potential. In my experience, gaining momentum with an idea helps you see it through to completion. We all work differently, and some people thrive when they have all the facts and a solid plan of action before they start on a project. I personally find that I need to start taking action on an idea as soon as the inspiration strikes. Otherwise, it will lose some of that special magic and it's less likely to happen. That's why I recommend doing something to move your idea forward every day, even if it's just making notes about it in your idea book. Keep your idea alive by nurturing it every day. When you have that kind of connection with your idea, you'll be taking small steps toward completion, and before you know it, you'll be there. But here's where it's important to distinguish between taking small steps and procrastinating. Procrastination stems from perfectionism, plain and simple. We all want to do our best work, and unless there's an external deadline, we're likely to put off working on our ideas because we see what could be, and we're afraid that we won't be able to fulfill on our vision with our current skill set or resources. I get it, but if you don't start and keep going on your idea, then you're guaranteed not to fulfill your vision at all. One of the best approaches to getting your idea past the idea predators in your mind is to get to that 80% finish line. Or put another way, write a shitty first draft. The way to push perfectionism out for good is to make a deal with yourself that you're not going to do perfect work. It'll only ever be 80% of what you're capable of. But this is good enough to feel like 100% from somebody else's perspective. Your work is still going to change lives, even if there was one more thing you could have done to make it better. So, if you've been procrastinating or telling yourself that your idea and the work you've been doing on it isn't good enough, stop that. Your only focus here is to do an above average job with your first draft for your course, your website, or your business idea, and let the refinement happen over time. I believe in you. Don't let your idea get taken out by the sneakiest of predators. So far, we've been preparing the soil for your ideal to flourish. Now it's time to germinate and validate your idea. For many of us, the ideation stage is the fun part. But once our ideas make contact with the real world, we might lose interest if we don't get the response we were expecting. It can also be disheartening to launch a course, a business, or a project into the world and not get the financial results that we were hoping for. How can you sidestep this pitfall and get your idea to succeed? It all starts with validation. No one wants to spend a ton of time and money working on something that won't take off. But asking your friends or family members if they like your idea is not a wise choice because they're not your ideal customers, and they'll either be politely supportive or overly critical, neither of which is helpful feedback to improve your idea and make it viable and profitable. That's where testing and micro commitments come in. How do you do that? You can start with a simple blog post, a social media post, or even running an ad. If you start getting some traction on the concepts and idea that you're sharing, you'll know you're on the right track. So, continuing with our example of an online course, you might post something like this. If I were to start teaching women with cravings how to stop binging on junk food while feeling satiated instead of dieting and calorie counting, would you be interested? If you get some positive responses, then you'll know to keep going, and you can even build an interest list of potential customers this way. Or you might post 2 different potential titles for your course and see what feedback you get. You've done all the prep work to get your idea ready for the world. Now it's time to prepare the world for your idea by creating a marketing campaign for it. This is usually called launching a course or product, and there are as many different strategies for doing it as there are unique ideas. But the basic premise of introducing your wild idea to the world is this. 1, find your ideal audience. This is usually done by building an email list or a community on social media. Basically, a way to get in touch with the right people at the right time. 2, give them a taste of your idea through free content that offers solutions and results before you ever ask for an investment in your paid course or product. 3, give them a chance to jump on board with your idea by giving them all the information they need to decide if it's right for them. This is where the sale takes place for a paid course or product. 4, deliver on your idea with your membership site, like this one on Access Ally, or in whatever format you choose. 5, ask them to spread the word about the idea because they likely know many other people just like them. Each of these steps could be an entire course on its own, and in fact, the first step is covered in detail in our free 30-day list building challenge course. The biggest thing to remember when you're introducing your idea to the world is that how you describe your idea and what it can do for people is just as important as the idea itself. Now that you've done all of the deep work required to bring an idea to market, you might be hesitating to really put it out there in a big way. When you launch your idea into the world, it's common to have second thoughts, especially right after you hit publish or send an email announcement and you hear crickets. Will this really work? Did I miss the mark on this one? Should I rework this and try again later? These are all things that I've personally thought after releasing a new product or course, and that I hear often from my clients and colleagues. But here's what I've learned. Just like you wouldn't dig up a seed that you just planted to check and see if it started sprouting, because that would undo all the work and could even kill the plant, you wouldn't launch a course or idea into the world and then remove the sales page or stop sending marketing messages about it abruptly. When you commit to an idea, see it through. If only so you can go all the way through producing an idea and seeing how the market responds. You can use this feedback to improve your idea and relaunch it better and stronger. In my early business days, I had to do just that. My very first online course attempt was a total flop. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured I could follow the steps I saw other businesses take. So I put together a free call, wrote up a sales page, and opened registration to my first online course, to the sound of crickets. Nobody bought what I was selling and I was mortified. What would people think if they knew I didn't sell a single spot? But I went back to the drawing board, I worked with a seasoned coach, and most importantly, spoke to my ideal customers. And just a few months later, my course release had a very different story. During this launch, my email list grew from a handful of subscribers to over 500 people, and I made $3,000 in just a few weeks. From there, I was able to relaunch the same program and turn it into a viable business. But none of this would have been possible if I hadn't released my first idea and gotten real-world feedback to help me improve my course and marketing. In my case, the feedback was clear. I wasn't speaking to people's desires and needs. When I repositioned my idea and followed the steps that I walked you through here inside of the Idea Sanctuary, I had a winning idea. So trust that your idea will find its roots and grow along with you as a business owner and creative. You've come a long way. Don't hold back your brilliant ideas from the world any longer. The process for getting your ideas out to the market successfully is never done. I'm constantly revisiting these steps in my own ideation process. So the next time you find yourself creatively blocked or ready to work on your new idea, come back and work through these exercises again.